Science, Chapter 1, The Solar System. Big question, what is the solar system? Vocabulary, solar system, a system of objects in space that includes at least one star, planets, their moons, asteroids, comets, and other space debris. Orbit, the oval-shaped path an object follows as it revolves around another object in space to revolve around another object. When you notice the sun, you're observing one part of our solar system. Earth is a part of this system, as are other planets and other objects that move around our sun. A solar system includes at least one star and the objects that travel around it. Some of these objects are planets, large spheres that move around the star. Other objects in a solar system include moons, asteroids, comets, and particles of rock and dust. The path of an object follows around another object in space is called its orbit. Objects are held in orbit by the force of gravity. Our solar system has one star, the sun, and 8 planets. Other solar systems have more than one star at their center. Our solar system contains some rocky planets. When our solar system formed over 4 billion years ago, only rocky materials could survive the heat near the sun. Eventually, these rocky materials formed planets. The 4 closest planets to the sun are made up mainly of rock and metal. Each has a solid surface and is known as a terrestrial planet. Mercury. Mercury is the smallest of the terrestrial planets and the one that is closest to the sun. How close? It is approximately 35,600,000,000 miles away. Mercury is only slightly larger than Earth's moon, and its orbit the sun once every 88 days. Its surface is very hot. Venus. Venus may not be the closest planet to the sun, but it is the hottest. That is because Venus has a very dense atmosphere. Sunlight passes through Venus's atmosphere and is reflected off the surface, but then it is reflected back to the surface by the thick atmosphere. Venus is almost 67 million miles from the sun. It is about the same size as Earth and has many of the same features, including mountains and volcanoes. At one time, Venus may have even had a shallow ocean. Earth. Earth, the third planet from the sun, is the only planet known to support life. Earth's temperatures, the amount of water on it and below its surface, and the mix of gases in its atmosphere all make life possible. Earth also has its own moon. In fact, it is the only planet with just one moon. Mercury and Venus do not have moons, and the remaining 5 planets have 2 or more. Mars. Mars, the 4th planet from the sun, is about half the size of Earth. It has a thin atmosphere and is very cold, with an average temperature of negative 81 degrees Fahrenheit. The surface of Mars is dotted with mountains, craters, canyons, and volcanoes. There is no evidence now that life exists on Mars, but evidence of water on Mars has led scientists to consider that it may have supported life at one time. Our solar system contains some gaseous planets. The other 4 planets in our solar system are classified as either ice giants or gas giants. These very large planets do not have a definitive surface. Instead of a rocky ground, they are mostly made up of gases, and only their small cores at the very center are solid. Jupiter. Jupiter is the largest planet in our solar system. Jupiter also has 79 different moons that we know of. Most people identify Jupiter by its colorful surface and the presence of its great red spot. The spot is actually a huge storm that has been occurring for hundreds of years. The gases in Jupiter's atmosphere are mostly hydrogen and helium, the same elements that make up the sun. Saturn. Saturn is nearly 1 billion miles from the sun. Like Jupiter, it is a gas giant that is made up of mainly hydrogen and helium. Saturn is most famous for its rings. Saturn has over 50 moons, and some of them may have the ability to support life. Uranus. Uranus is one of the two ice giants. It is made up mostly of water, methane gas, and other materials. Methane is what gives Uranus its blue-green color. Uranus is a very cold and windy planet. Wind speeds can reach up to 560 miles per hour. Like Saturn, Uranus has rings. One characteristic that makes Uranus unique is that it tilts almost completely on its side as it orbits the Sun. Neptune. The other ice giant is Neptune, which is also the farthest planet from the Sun. Neptune is very dark, windy, and cold. Its winds can reach up to 1,200 miles per hour. Like Uranus and the gas giants, Neptune does not have a solid surface. Its structure is similar to Uranus with a swirling mixture of water, methane gas, and other materials. Some scientists think there may be a hot ocean deep under Neptune's clouds of gases. Our solar system contains other space objects. The Sun and planets and their moons are major parts of the solar system, but the solar system contains other objects too. Some of these objects are dwarf planets. A dwarf planet has some, but not all, of the characteristics of regular planets. Pluto is one example of a dwarf planet. Scientists have identified and named 5 dwarf planets. They are farther from the Sun than Neptune. Asteroids, meteors, and comets are also part of our solar system, all orbiting the Sun and interacting with the planets. These objects range in size from small particles to large bodies that are hundreds of miles across. Comets contain ice and dust when they are close to the Sun. They form a tail of gas and other material.